everyone. This is another one of my author's chats of the week, and sorry, I'm trying to adjust my space, and my dog's getting put up in the back because he was just being muttering today. He was very vocal today. Kind of what created him for a while, so he's been a little antsy. But gonna keep an eye out for my co-host, and we'll go from there. Hello, how are you? And we'll be talking about books, writing, publishing, everything in between. Let me go see if I can see. There we are. Okay, so we should be good to go in just a moment. Let's see if she sees the invite. But it's been a very kind of gray day over here. Hope it's not as abysmal for all you guys. We're about to hit a series of storms, so. But thankfully, my ability that I'm a writer, I get to stay inside for most of that. Avoid that. And write about prettier places and read about nicer places. Okay, so I sent my invite and we shall see. Hopefully we can connect. There's usually always a couple minutes for everybody to sink in together. Hopefully that goes. But yeah, so I've been working on gearing up for a Kickstarter campaign, and I've been creating a lot of stuff because it takes a lot of work, not only coming up with all the planning and the different tiers for reward tiers, but also just the actual verbiage, which is what I was doing. Is I was writing a lot of paragraphs, but it was all just that kind of fun blurb stuff for that kind of connects with the campaign itself. And it'll be for the fourth book of my young adult multiverse-based fantasy, so that's a lot of fun for me. And it kind of gets a little bit, I mean, as the characters get a little older, it gets a little bit darker each time, so it's kind of going that way for them, and I'm having a lot of fun because it's in editing right now, and just preliminary editing, and we're dealing with, for my magical multiverse, some gladiatorial monster battles. So I'm having a blast dealing with all that. But hopefully she sees the invite. I know sometimes it's hard to do this the other way around, but we will see. I know she was live. I can see that she's live, so we shall see. But yeah, so there we go.
Hi.
So,
let me take this off. I just had this on for,
that works. I mean, be proud of your book talk crown.
Well, I had a book come out today, so I was,
Yay!
chatting with everybody in the comments about it, so.
That's so exciting. Well, that's perfect, because how I always like to start out with this is I let my co-host, which was you right now, introduce yourself and what you write. So definitely tell us about your new release.
Okay, so I'm kind of multi-genre, just so you know. But so far, I write mystery suspense, romantic suspense. That's what's out so far. So the book that came out today is called This Tangled Web. And it is a mystery that it's basically the first in the series about a podcaster turned amateur sleuth. So, yeah, her name is Jude Amarante, and up until the start of this book, she's had kind of like a hobby podcast where she covers solved crimes. She has a really big following, and it's kind of her comfort place. Recently went through a divorce, so it's kind of the place that she feels like the most comfortable. So one of her followers reaches out to her and says, "Hey, you've just finished talking about this case. We have a guy who's missing up here, and it would be like, I think you should cover it on your case. Come up." Like that kind of thing. And so she kind of looks around and assesses her life, and she's like, I literally have nothing going on. So she just picks up and goes to Vermont and goes to the super small town in the middle of winter, and she's from Florida, so she's kind of like out of her depth immediately. But and basically, yeah, as Amber said in the comments, it has Murder, She Wrote kind of vibes. So Veronica Mars, Murder, She Wrote, Nancy Drew are my inspos for this. So yeah, and so yeah, I really love it. I think it's going to be a really good series. She basically gets there and finds out that not only does this guy have more secrets, the one who's missing, than she could have ever thought, but also everyone in the town has a reason to not want him found. So, yeah.
I feel like that's always the makings of a great mystery. And I have to ask now, because if you haven't had this question, someone's probably going to ask you at some point. I feel, look, I have not read a lot of mysteries, but I have watched a few of the seasons. I don't know if I've missed the last season or not of Only Murders in the Building, which again is a bunch of kind of podcast fanatics getting caught up into solving actual mysteries. I don't know if you ever saw that series.
I actually saw a couple of episodes, but I completely forgot about it until you just said that. Like I think I watched the first 2 episodes back in the first season. I had gone back to school. I was in nursing school when it was out, so I didn't really have the time to invest in it, but I love all those actors. So yeah.
There you go. Now it's the next thing you need to like binge when you get
for sure. 100%. So yeah, that came out today. I'm super excited about it. The next one comes out at the end of summer, and the plot of the next one is basically how and it says this at the end, like we're going back to Florida, and so at the end of the book, basically gives you like a sneak peek. Jude finds out that someone close to her has been accused of offing, unaliving someone, and so she's like got to go back home and kind of deal with that. So
that's kind of cool. So how many books do you have potentially in this series? Because I know it's early enough, and I feel like when it comes to mystery and other kind of or crime-based literature, it's nice in the sense that you potentially could continue on the series and you don't necessarily have to have a hard stop like some other styles of writing. But do you have like in mind how many books you might have?
well, when I finished book 1, I was like, okay, this is a 3-book series.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a second, there's going to be a third. But then everyone who did the arc reading for it, the feedback I've gotten is, you could just make this go forever. Like, you know, so now I'm like readjusting, reevaluating in my mind because people seem to like it so much that I'm like, okay, I could do this. I'm still going to continue on with like the plot plan I had for the first 3 books. And then after that, because each book is a different mystery.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, but there are continuing characters and there are like she has like as you know, a continuing arc. Other people in the book do. Some characters get left behind. Thank you, Morgan. But like some people get left behind in the first book and it's you're like, oh, sad to see you go, but we have other people continuing and yeah. So
That's cool. No, I think that is something nice when you have the ability to continue on again when as an epic fantasy author, this concept of world building, you put all this time and energy into creating worlds and fantasy that sometimes it's just nice to hang out in them for as long as possible. But it also is kind of that theme. You want to have an end game for us. Now, again, mystery and detective stories and stuff like that do lead to that open ending where you potentially could be like, but wait, there's more. At any point. You could go away for a few years and come back and be like, but here's another one.
like they're standing on the beach having like they're in retirement or something and she comes out of retirement and now she's like an octogenarian sleuth. Like she, she was a 30 something. She took a break. Now she's all of a sudden like octogenarian, like which actually would be super fun.
See, the world is your oyster, so
Yeah.
you have more than just a trilogy at your fingertips.
Yeah, for sure. So that is that is the first series that I've started. I have another series. I have a lot of books coming out, but like this is the newest one that's out. So yeah.
That is so exciting. And it is nice because I feel like you have your beginnings as a writer and author are a little different than mine because there are definitely the people who write multiple books before publishing the first one. And I was working on others, but I was not anywhere near and didn't know the process enough to make it quicker. And so having potentially 2 releases in a year already is wowing. So that's pretty neat.
Oh yeah, thank you. I pretty much went into like a hyper fixation and wrote. So I had one book come out last year, and then from like October to the new year, I wrote 3 more. So now I'm just like, okay. So I do have some fantasies coming out as well, but like under a different pen name. So
Okay, that was gonna say because when you jump so much, there's two schools of thoughts. There's definitely the pen name, so people know what they're gonna get into, and you don't muddy the water. And then there's the ones whose everything is gonna be under the same name, and just because it's easy for me to market myself, plus other things. So there's pros and cons and everything, but
Too many pen names going on right now to keep track of because I have too many series and different types of books that I'm writing. So yeah.
does that make it hard to market? Like, are you marketing like, for instance, on Book Talk, do you have different handles for your different personality? Okay, I feel like that could be
It's a lot
stressful
of
on how many
what?
of if you have multiple pen names and you have multiple accounts, one for each of your pen names, and that's just a lot of posting and a lot of keeping track of all that. I don't know if that's what you do, but for me, the concept of marketing with multiple pen names sounds terrifying.
Yeah, so the plan is I do have my own like my own publishing imprint because I'm a indie author, and so my plan is to eventually market them all under that one publishing account.
That's awesome.
Um, and yeah, and my husband helps. But I plan to market them all under that one account. It's Lavender Fox Press. That's my other handle. So eventually they'll all just kind of be under there. But I also am opening an indie bookstore with some other authors, indie authors, and it's going to be here on TikTok. And so we're having a TikTok shop just for indie authors. And so I'll probably do most of my marketing under there and kind of maybe close some of those other ones out because I don't need them if I have somewhere else to put them under. Yes, it's called Distracted Inklings. Yeah.
I love that. That is really cool. Okay, wait. Now I have to like talk about this one. Distracted Inklings. Okay. Sorry. I always I feel like my notepad just to remember things in the future because I will not remember if I don't write it down. And I love the fact that it says Inklings. Okay, that's cool. No, I love the idea because I don't know why a bunch of other authors haven't created a bunch of different bookshops to market, help kind of cross promote and market their work when it's available. Because I recently jumped on the direct sales bandwagon, so opening a shop on here and that kind of stuff too. And again, that's more stuff to kind of juggle. I feel like lots of things juggling. How much time do you have in your life to dedicate to this?
Not a lot. I have a full-time job. I'm a nurse. So this is my evening and weekend. Yeah. Oh, and as Amber said, she's one of my inklings. We're hosting other authors there, so it's not just our books. Like we have like an author submission form, so authors who want to be like who want their book on the website like can fill out the form and yeah. So it's really cool and it's fun, and we're really excited about it.
I'm gonna make that because I know sometimes I've definitely had young authors, and of course I'm also always interested in stuff like that. But there's different other authors who are always like, how can I get in places? How can I figure this out? And I'm like, we all just ask and stumble along. I don't know.
Exactly, exactly. That's kind of why we called ourselves the Distracted Inklings was because, well, first of all, we did Inklings from C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien had the writing group called the Inklings, and we all kind of like we have a bunch of ideas, and we're always like distracting each other and like just kind of. I mean, how many books have between us in the last like 3 months we've written
Oh yeah.
I, like 10 books, like not even a joke, like between us. And so it's like, okay, but we get an idea and we just kind of roll with it. So that's how we kind of got the distracted part. So
That's
distracted productivity, yeah.
That is so much fun. I love that. I think it's a fun name. And I love the Inklings, especially because, again, as being a fantasy author, I love some of the, like, Tolkien is one of those forefathers of what we perceive as modern fantasy, and C.S. Lewis has always been super inspirational for people. So, that's a great group to kind of give a nod.
Exactly. We're like, sirs, you know? So.
Madams are here. But, okay, so okay, so you have one you already is it in the second one is in editing, or are you already like edited and it's ready to go, you're just doing the final touches?
So I have one book that's out prior to this called Through a Mirror Darkly. And that was supposed to be a standalone, but people have been asking for more. So there's more going on with that, so it's no longer standalone. There's spin-offs basically. So that one is out. It's been out since August. This Tangled Web came out today. Yay! And then in February, this picture back here is Gemma, and this is my first fantasy. Gemma is a detective witch. It's a cozy, and it's called Gemma Stone and the Missing Dragon Egg. And it's so cute, and it is in its like final edits right now. So I have a couple of authors in the chat, like sort of beta reading it. It's already been through edits, and I'm just tweaking some things. But that comes out in February, and then I have another book I've written called Kiss Me in the Dark that is in edits and comes out in April. So.
Wow, back to back to back launches.
But then I have nothing else written after that. Like those are the ones I wrote from October to New Year's. And where I have like a whole other list of things I'm doing. I have several other series that I'm starting. These series I have to keep them going, so it's fun.
Well, I definitely understand, because I'm releasing two simultaneously, my Viking Dark Fantasy novella series for adults, and then my young adult adventure-based, questing-based portal fantasy set in a magical multiverse. And so very different, again, both epic fantasy, but very different, and it's a lot of fun, but it can be challenging, I know, and I've said this to other people. I found it sometimes just a little challenging when I've been working on one project and then I switched over to another one. I realize, like, I'll be reading aloud and I switch my main character's names. I'm literally looking at the other character, but I'm saying the prior one because my head's kind of still like, what universe am I in?
Yes, and actually, I don't know if you have this problem, but I don't have Kiss Me in the Dark, but I'm just going to hold this for reference. So I'm writing, so Kiss Me in the Dark, I actually, it's my Gemma and Kiss Me in the Dark are third person point of view, and it's my first time doing that because this one and Through Mirror Darkly are first. So and it happens to do with the genre, really, But so in Kiss Me in the Dark, I'm doing third, but I was trying to do multi POV. So I actually had to stop writing certain POVs and just be like, I'm going to come back and finish writing your POV because I'm confused. Who am I right now? It's just like, and I had a male point of view, and I actually was just reading over it yesterday, and he put his own hand on his own shoulder, like, because apparently I didn't know who I was, but yeah, I totally get what you mean. Like, it's so easy to just like be like, when you're going from project to project, your mind, it gets so immersed in one that, I don't know, I kind of try to get a whole draft out of one before I go into another one, because I get confused. I started making Gemma dark, and she's a cozy, so it's like,
But that's the thing is, like, authors, I feel like a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us like to play. We like to test new things. We want to, like, not always pigeonhole ourselves. But again, if you're working on multiple projects, which many of us are, that can also get things a little confusing with how you're approaching your writing. Yeah. And I fully understand that all my epic fantasy has been one point of view until the one I'm working on now, which is my first 3 point of view storyline, and it's been a lot of fun, but it is also just a different challenge to kind of get outside of what has been my comfort zone for so long.
Yeah. Now, if you're interviewing me, but I'm going to ask you a question for everyone in the chat.
We're hanging out.
Okay, good. Because for everyone in the chat who doesn't know you, what would you suggest they start with?
Ooh, okay. And my answer is it all depends on your taste in fantasy, because my 3 series that I have at the moment, they're very different. And I don't want to, everybody just has their flavors, let's say. And so I can describe the flavors, but you're the one who has to, like, choose which one. So for me, like again, kind of going around my little Vanna whiteboard behind me, more or less. I have a young adult series that's called the Jed Chronicles, and again, it's a series that's set in a magical multiverse, 12 worlds, multiple dimensions. It's kind of just a lot of fun for me. I love basing my stuff off mythology, so I have like different worlds based off different mythos and stuff. It is, again, being young adult, I do use themes of the chosen one, or maybe are you the chosen one kind of themes, and we are being a portal fantasy, you're doing that world jumping, but it is on the clean side. So there's a lot of action, a lot of adventure, a lot of quests, but it's, more on the family friendly side. And then I start getting darker. So the Incarn Saga is a 4-book series. My only complete series starts with The Lady in Blue. I know it's a little dark this evening. With Asara's Claws, and it is a war-based shifter series for new adults. So a kingdom on the verge of war, humans and shapeshifters have to decide if they can put aside their differences in order to fend off a greater threat. And my debut series, which I loved. And then for adults, I have a novella series, so they're quick reads. Again, Viking dark fantasy. It really is kind of a dark retelling of Nordic myth. So you're really immersed in the 9 realms, in and around Yggdrasil, the World Tree, and all that kind of fun mythos from Norse mythology, starting with really obscure stuff and eventually getting to some more of the iconic characters that everybody expects.
Oh, that's so cool. My friend Amber in the comments, she really likes that if I'm wrong, more Norse like mythology and that sort of thing. And so she actually has a series, Prince of Darkness, which has a lot of mythology in it. So
I love mythology. It's the stuff that I've always loved to read and so far write. Maybe that'll change in the future, but that's kind of my particular niche at this moment. Though maybe one day I will play an adventure beyond. Who knows? And then dabble with a pen name. Because that was my thing, is I had to decide, was I going to get different pen names for the different ages or not? And I decided, since they're all epic fantasy, I kept my one name. Just keeping it simple to start off with. Down the line, that may change.
I think that's really smart because like you have the fantasy tie-in. So like Gemma and This Tangled Web and Through a Mirror Darkly, they all have the mystery suspense piece. So even though she's a fantasy, she still gets to be under Roxie, which is my name. So, but then, I have, the book Kiss Me in the Dark that's in edits right now. The cool thing about Kiss Me in the Dark is that it's about a fantasy a fantasy author who ends up having, she ends a series and one of her fans is upset about it. So she ends up kind of going into hiding for her own safety. And her name is Savannah Moss. When that whole book ends and it's wrapped up, Savannah Moss is going to be my pen name for my Goddess Fantasy series.
Fun. That's also a very fun name. Just Savannah Moss.
Yes. And that is going to be my pen name for writing fantasy, and I'm doing it as her. So I'm writing it as her. So yeah.
And I think again, for each author, you have to decide what course is best. I see a thing that popped up in my comments saying I should have used a pen name, but I didn't. And maybe I'll save it around when I do Dinosaur Spice. And I was just like, well, there you go. But no, I mean, you just have to decide because there's definitely authors. And yeah, some of them are the big name authors that get away with it, but they can kind of cross genres and that's fine. And it's a little harder when you market for yourself to kind of teach people what you're writing. When they read one thing and expect one thing, you're like, but I also do this. There you go. Wear that crown proudly.
It matches my glasses. It needs to be on.
I love it. I actually do not own a true book talk crown, but I do have some helmets. Most of them are based off Nordic myth, so.
Well, Amber Toma in the comments bought this for me for Christmas. So, yeah, so she bought this for me just as like a sweet gift. So, yeah.
There is that book, and I don't know if it's a fair, a party, or whatever to do it, but I know it's like it's Gowns and Crowns that's popular on this app. That's what I feel like I would see there as your tiara.
I know, right? My beautiful, and it's so funny because another girl in the comments, she has a crown from the Cruel Prince series that she's sending to me, and it's like a legit crown. Like, and I'm just like, thank you. I need crowns, you know, like I need them.
I have a wall of your book talk crowns, and it's just your mood of the day. This is the one when I'm writing the sweet stuff. This is the one when I get a little darker, and this is my spicy crown.
Exactly. I actually have a crown in my wish list on Amazon, and it's like it's called a Baroque crown, and it's like dark stones, and I want that one so much. And then I have like a halo headband crown that I want for my wallet when I'm writing my goddess books. So
I love that. Again, why not? Why not just dress up to write and really get into
I
yeah.
actually was thinking about that. I have these beautiful dresses I never wear, and I'm like, why don't I ever wear those when I'm like writing? I would just feel like such a queen, you know? Like,
No, I definitely am all for dress to impress, even if it's just for yourself. Like if you're just writing and you want to wear some kind of fun costume, wear your costume. Who's gonna judge your characters? I don't think so.
no, you know, they're going to be. I have a character I'm write or starting to write right now, and it's a paranormal dark romance series. She's a bounty hunter. She wears all black leather. That's her vibe. And like I love her so much, and I want like I'm like I need a leather jacket just to.
Yes, do that. Get it, like again. And if it gets cold outside, kind of like it is right now for me, is that jacket can also help you with just stay warm.
Yeah, I say this as I have this do you know Howl's Moving Castle?
Yes.
I have the blanket. So like, I say I'm gonna wear leather, yet I'm cozied up in anime. So
Hey, that's fine. Again, it's your vibe. You do it. Like right now, I have my sweet mother, who I think is here in the chat somewhere. She got me one year a pair of what they call rider's gloves. So they're fingerless gloves up top, and they're a quote, and like they were all different. I can't remember the company. I don't know if it was Storygram. I don't remember, but like different quotes of famous books, and like so I have the gloves that are Great Gatsby. I have one of those infinity scarves that's I think it was Hamlet, but it might be the Raven because it has a couple skulls and it's just this big quote around. And I was like, this is fun. You know, when I'm writing, I kind of feel like this is my writer's outfit when it gets chilly.
exactly. No, I'm totally I'm with you. So
So, with all your plethora of characters and storylines, where do your ideas come from? Because you have plenty of them. So you found like the fountain of ideas, which some authors struggle with. But you sound like you always have one. So where do they come from? Are they from dreams or people you know, or just give us a couple examples.
okay, I'll start off with Through a Mirror Darkly. This is the old cover. The new cover, I haven't gotten my copies of yet, but this is the original cover. And Through a Mirror Darkly is about I'll tell you what it's about, and then I'll tell you why or how I got the idea. So, Cleo is an artist living in Arizona. She hasn't been home in over a decade, but she gets a phone call that there's been a tragedy, like someone's hurt back home, and she needs to come back. And so she arrives in town only to find out that her grandmother is fading fast, and it was the way that she was hurt was intentionally done in order to bring her home. So, and there are letters from this person that is called Love, and they have written letters demanding her to come back, and then it just sort of escalates throughout the book. And so there's Lost Love that's like a second chance romance plot line in there. It's very much a whodunit, but it's not really a mystery so much as it's a suspense. Like you're just trying to figure out who it is before it's too late.
Uh-huh.
So yeah. So this idea came to me in a dream in 2020. I was home on that little extended break we were all on, and I worked in child child investigations for the state at the time. So my life was a little dark. So I had this dream of a young woman in a beautiful white wedding gown holding her groom on the side of the road, and they were both covered in red liquid.
Uh-huh.
And someone was watching from the woods and took a picture. That was the dream. And so that is the opening chapter. It's been tweaked some, but until I got that chapter down on paper, the dream wouldn't go away.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote the chapter down and I was like, okay, wow, you know, this could be a story. I'd never tried to write before. I'm a huge reader though. And I was like, oh gosh, this could be a story. And then I thought, well, if it was a story, what would happen? And so then I just kept going with it until it became a story. The thing is that when I got halfway through writing this book, I had 5 more ideas. So I had a sticky, the stickies on Mac.
Oh yeah.
So I had my entire computer screen by the time I finished this book in 2022, was completely full of ideas. And it's kind of escalated from there. As my friend Amber said in the chat, they joke a lot that I have a new idea every other minute. So I just have lots and lots of ideas jotted down everywhere. I'm like, listen, what if I wrote this story? And and so that's where I get my ideas. It's literally a conversation. One time I passed this beautiful gated community, and it was like double wide trailers, and there was like this big pond in the middle with like a fountain, and I passed by it, and it gave me this idea for a person who unalives a lot of people. It gave me an idea for that, and I was like, but what if it was set here? Like that was my idea. And so it's just kind of like that's on the list for later. But like that's kind of how it goes. Like somebody will say something, or I'll hear a song and I'll be like, this would be great if I were writing this scene. Like the Goddess novel that I'm starting came from a battle scene of me listening to a Halsey song. So yeah, I was listening to Halsey, kind of just, I don't know, daydream, maladaptive daydreaming, I don't know. But all of a sudden I was just in this dream, and I saw this beautiful woman just like fighting, and she had all this power, and it was amazing. And afterwards I was like, I have this idea, so yeah, that's where I get mine.
I love that. No, I was gonna say, I always love that question because everybody gets them from like a whole slew of different like sources, and it's just fun to find the origin of the story. But as you were speaking, my mind always like comes up with like some weird ideas. I don't know if you're familiar with Rebecca Thorne on this app, but one of the things that she did, which you might be able, depending on how much time effort you want to do on this, she did a scavenger hunt style for some of her like super fans on this app, and I don't know if she crossed it on other apps as well. But I could see you doing like a what do you call it? Not a spin-off, little short mystery that you challenge your viewers to check in every so often, and you give a clue, and kind of like your own podcast, but based around your characters of your book, and kind of when it's promotional, too, would be fun for your group.
Yeah. That would be so much fun. I don't even know. Amber in the comments is like, oh my God, she's probably going to come up with how I can do it. Already, I can see her doing it in her. My husband just called you Kath. He just nicknamed you. But he said, "Good idea, Kath." That would be fantastic, actually. And I just want to go ahead and tell you, we actually do have a podcast that debuts next week. So I'll send you some information about that. It's also called Distracted Inklings. So yeah, we're going to be interviewing authors on there. So maybe we can do this again.
Just let me know. I'm always I love podcasts. I love.
Yeah. So yeah, but gosh, that would be so much fun. And I do love Rebecca Thorne. She's so cool. What is it? Something without T is her.
I Can't Spell Treason Without T was one of her first one, I think, on here that got big. But yeah, I remember she was on here. We did a chat like this a little before I think she did the announcement that she got picked up by Tor for that particular series. But she's so sweet, and she has a lot of great marketing ideas. And so when she did her kind of scavenger hunt, I was like, oh, that's really cool. It doesn't really work for my type of books or characters, but I always wanted to see someone else do something like an interactive story. And again, mystery is great for that. So
yeah, no, that'd be great. It could be like maybe a little Gemma mystery or something. Yeah,
And
because
and then you could write it up and have one of your like freebie stories to give to your newsletter and cross promotion.
you're like giving me so many ideas. I'm sure my husband's in the comments like, "Oh my gosh, I never see her anyway." You know, like
Take notes. And I'm sorry, husband.
he's fine. He's fine. But
Well, no,
yeah,
I mean that's the thing is when you, especially you have a full time job, and then you do this, and it kind of is like practically a full time job when you really get down to all the stuff that you do for your writing career, and then you have or try to have a life on the side. Again, poor husbands, because I have one too. Have you ever had a moment where your partner came up and was like, "You need to pause for a little bit. You need to back away and see the world beyond your computer screen." I had that about a couple weeks ago because I pulled, I think it was like a 58-hour work week, but I am a full-time author and artist. So I was like full-time my normal writing, plus it was a very big week. And I was like, I promise next week won't be this bad. I'm sorry I haven't seen you.
I get that a lot actually. So like I said, I have the full-time job as a nurse. The plan is that I hope to do this full-time sometime, which I think is why I'm trying to write so many and build a backlog so that people can, get to know me. So, and my books because I think they're good stories. But it's so funny. Last night, actually, my husband he came to the door and he's like, "Are you writing tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah, and I've got some things I need to get done before the release tomorrow." And he's like, "Well, I think I'll just come in here and sit with you." And he like literally just came in and sat in this chair. And my desk was at the other end, and he just was like sitting here and he was like talking the whole time, but he was supposed to be working. And so eventually he ended up like, going back in there. But yeah, on Friday night he's making me go to a comedy show because he's like, "You got to get out of the house." So,
Making you go to a comedy show, dragging you out the door.
yeah, listen, Catherine. Like he made me do stand up comedy with him in this past summer. I took a class last summer. So yeah, um, yeah. So
That's fun. I think that's kind of fun. Is make sure again, writing be it a hobby, a second job, your only job, whatever it is, but also make sure you do other things in life because it's there are other things outside of books. To the shock of some people on this app, I understand. I love reading it, I love writing it, but I also like doing other things when I remember I can walk out the door.
yeah, it takes a lot for me. I'm like, babe, I've got things that I really want to accomplish tonight. And I'll be like looking at my watch, like I don't know, like what. Maybe we can fit that in. But no, my favorite part is when we can try to combine them. So my second, Jude Amarante case files is what this is called. These are called, yeah. So the second book, she goes back to Florida because of the issues, and that book is set in Boca Raton. So Shane and I are going to take just a little trip down there and just have like like a little vacation in Boca Raton, just us to.
If you made your business a business, that might be a write-off.
I know, right? Well, Shane's like, well, I mean, like if you can find some way to like, if we could, have like some sort of activity there, maybe you could do that. So, um,
You people do it for research all the time. Is I'm going there so I can really like take pictures and document the area and all that kind of stuff. And Neil Gaiman, there we go. Neil Gaiman did something similar when he was writing American Gods because I have that book, and in the background he talks about this. And everywhere that is talked about in that book, and they travel a lot. He did a road trip first to make sure he hit those spots, and that was part of his business trip.
well, I mean, that would be, that would be ideal because the book comes out at the end of summer. So if we can go there, our plan was to go early summer. So I mean, and the reason why I want to go there is because I don't live in Florida. I don't live in Vermont, but Vermont is so much easier for me to imagine in my mind living in Pennsylvania than Florida is. You
Ooh,
know?
here's another one. And I'm sorry again, husband, because I'm about to give her another homework assignment. But if you go in the beginning of the summer, and if you've already have your, because you can't design your print books without the spine length. I get that. But you can most book cover artists will design the ebook first. I now do that for promotional purposes. If you have an ebook and you have your phone or tablet, you can take pictures of your book while you're there on location and
Yeah.
put posts and have like marketing images for later. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out.
No, that's great. That's actually wonderful. Have you seen the people who write the what's her name? Amanda Casey, I think. She has Blue Reflections, I think is the name of her book. And she her book is about like I think it's about sirens or mermaids. And so she has taken so many photos of her book on the beach. And I've actually seen the water on her book and I was like, no, like
Yeah, there are authors who will trash the book for certain photo shoots, depending on what they're doing, and I'm like, that could have been loved by someone.
If you could see it, do I have it here? My first copy of Through a Mirror Darkly, the one that I use for all my promotional stuff. No idea where it is right now. But that copy, I literally got it and was so happy that I took it with me to one of our comedy classes and it was storming and I had it in my little bag. By the time we got in there, I mean, it was torrential downpour. The whole book was like bubbled and all the pages were whatever. And I was like so upset. And then I was like, well, this is going to be my editing copy. And it's my favorite copy. Like, I'm actually kind of sad that I have the new cover because I will no longer be flipping that one up and saying, this is the book. But it has tabs all over it. If you look at it, like, red marker, like the whole thing, it's one of those things that I think even when I'm in like much much older and I have so many books out, I'm always going to pick that one up because it's the first proof that I had. So
And now it's super special for you, and I keep looking at like I have a stack of proofs and old proofs, and I don't know if those are things I should keep or at some point give away to like a super fan and being like, you get the proof copy or you get whatever. But I don't know, like, I don't know. Because they
I've heard people giving those away, and I'm like, I can't do it.
oh yeah.
Ugh. This copy, this is the most, well, it's not the most current copy, obviously, but in this one, the main character, her best friend's name is Macy, but in the proof copy, her name was Casey, and I had to change it from Casey to Macy because her name is Cleo, and my editor was like, that's too many C's, you know? So I was like, all right, still want that vibe though. She's Macy now. And so like, but yeah, so that's something someone like my friend Kim in the comments, she's a collector of multiple editions of people's books. That's something I could see her liking, being like, oh, I would like to have a copy with original names in it. So
That is kind of fun because I do know other authors who have the oopsie copy and something like a limited run happened and they had an extra page or a duplicate chapter or something they forgot to take out or tweak, and they admit it. They're like, well, these are the duplicates. I'm gonna auction them off or give them away, book fairy them to people, and everybody's like, ah, and you're like, huh, yeah, there you go. The special odd editions, the quirky books.
quirky books. That's actually a really good idea because I just had that happen today. I ordered the new cover of this book and they sent me, I just ordered like an initial 10 print run because it's been out. It's not a new release. But I ordered like 10 and they sent me the old cover. But they sent me the old cover, but the pages were still different inside with like a previous like model I had done before I chose the new cover and the format that I have now. So it's sort of like an in-between. It's not the original. It's not the one that I have now. It's like this cover with like a different formatting. And I have them and I'm going to be contacting them like, hey, this is not what I ordered. But at the same time, I'm like, that could be fun, like
Trying to number them so they know they are only 1 out of whatever, 10 out of 10, and have them signed and they can be gift copies.
yeah. That could be so much fun. So that's you have so many ideas.
Some days I'm more on than off. And the problem is, again, this thing goes the same thing with writing and coming up with ideas. I've never dealt with, at this point, it's going to change one day, I'm sure, but I've never dealt with writer's block. I'm the opposite. I come up with too many things at once. I'm never going to be able to do it all. And that's the thing, is sometimes I have to hit the slow down button because I'm trying to do too many things. Case in point, I have a double release next month, but I'm also might be kicking off my Kickstarter next month, and I was like, wow, February, that's a lot.
It's the month of love and also the busy month.
And this last one, what am I thinking? Why did I do that?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Jenny. Yeah.
I
So
love-
what do you have going? What's coming out for you in February?
Interestingly enough, it's a double release in the weird way I release my novellas. Now, because my Viking series, Viking fantasy series, are novellas, I don't like putting them in print until I have enough of them that I can release omnibus versions, because I like a good size, spine on the cover versus the little teeny ones. That's just personal preference. That's why I hold them off. So what ended up happening, because for whatever reason, my proof copies keep getting waylaid, so I had to push off because I want to make sure the cover looks good. That's all I'm waiting for. Make sure I'm printing right. Pushed off my next omnibus for that series, so that would be volumes 9 through 12 for February. February was already slotted for the next individual novella, which would be, where am I now in the series, 13. And so pretty much I'm going to have almost a double release, but they're both tied to that same series. And it's very weird, I know.
I love it. I think that the people who read your series are going to love it too. They're going to be like, oh my goodness, we have this and this,
You have
So
choices. Especially if you're an ebook person, you have choices. But yeah, it is fun, and it's a series that I like to promote after our release and not really do a big swooping promotional hoopla for, just because they're novellas, and I do release 4 of them a year plus omnibuses on top of that. That's a lot for me. I'm like, I'm not going to do a huge big thing. Now for my young adult series, since I release 1 a year, that one I try to do something bigger for that one and just be like, hey,
yeah.
it's happy dance.
That's so awesome. Actually, Gemma is a novella.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so in edits right now, I've been trying to decide, like, am I gonna make it, like, am I just gonna add a little bit more and make it full length, or am I just gonna leave it a novella? But I had planned for it to be a novella series, and I was gonna do an omnibus, just like you. Yeah.
I like that. I mean, the problem is there's always going to be readers that are impatient and want the omnibus right away. But for me, it just gives options, because if someone's a little tentative for a new series, pick up one. Pick up them individually. See how much you like. If you are, oh, I'm all in, get the omnibus series, and you can just like get your collections of 4, go pop, 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 pop. And the same goes for the audiobooks, since I've started to delve into getting all my stuff turned into audiobooks. I have them both individually and in the omnibus versions for the fantasy, so depending on how big of a chunk you want to bite.
Yeah, thank goodness you're doing this full time. Like, there's no.
Well, listen to you. No. Full time. Don't give me credit. It's the people who have full time jobs and still do this, because I will say this is also a full time job. So you are doing 2 jobs. So make sure you give yourself enough credit.
You hear that, babe? But like, yeah, it's just it's so much fun, isn't it?
And since it is your release day and slash, sometimes people, celebrate, and again, you're promoting or whatever you like to do for the next, however, maybe a few days, week, month, year, however long you want to do. What is something special you're doing to celebrate the fact that you're like, I got a new one. Look at my new beautiful book baby.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to do was to do a giveaway of the original cover of Through a Mirror Darkly, just for people who are checking out this Tangled Web. But if you win, like if people get into the giveaway, which I'll be posting more about, they will also get a signed copy of this Tangled Web. So they'll get them both together. So
I love it.
that's what I'm doing. That's my thank you so much for following me and sharing about my new book. Yeah. So if anybody does want to enter that, follow me and share about my book, and I'll put you in.
Okay, good interchange. So where can people follow you and, find and follow you? Obviously, you're on Book Talk, but where else? Do you have a website? Do you have a newsletter? What other apps are you on? Let's let them know.
Yeah, so if you go into my link tree, Shane, don't tell people he's like, we live at. No, if you go into my link tree, you can sign up for my newsletter there. You can follow me on Instagram. I also have a Twitter, or X, which I'm trying to do better at. And also you can, like my email's there. You can sign up for everything in that link, my website, all of that.
One-stop shop.
Yeah. Also, Distracted Inklings, gonna be super awesome. So if you're into indie publishing, you like indie books, if you follow Distracted Inklings, I'll give you a second entry. So, and I'll be able to check between my account and Distracted Inklings to see who's following.
Perfect. And yeah, for anybody who's just jumping on, Distracted Inklings is going to be a virtual indie bookstore that you can find through this app where you can get copies of books.
And we're going to be doing really cool things. So I hope I'm not giving away big secrets here. Sorry, guys. But we're going to do like book boxes. We're going to have merchandise on there, some specific merchandise to our books, because we can do that without having to have licensing because other people's books. But then we'll have generic like phrases and things like that. So we're going to do annotating kits. It's going to be so much fun. I think we're going to have like a romance book box, a spicy book box, fantasy book box. We're going to do everything. And then we're just going to have our books individually, and we're going to group our books together as according to genre as bundles. So it's going to be so much fun.
And I have another idea for that one for you in just a second. But I see on my side of things, because I think I never figure out with live. Sometimes they split people's chats, sometimes they merge them, and I think we're kind of more or less split. But I do see a comment from Coastal Wizard, hi, saying ultra cool. So you already have some interest about that. But something that I was saying, because again, trying to get into the direct sale shtick for myself, I don't know if I have enough variety for myself, but this might be great for you, where you do a blind date with a book and have your genres pre-wrapped, and then with your whatever clue, words, because that may make more sense for something like what you're doing than something like, well, you have one of three options.
Well, actually, that's so funny that you say that. We do want to do a blind date with a book, but we also want to keep it to where if you are one of our readers, that you don't get a book that you already own by us. So we're going to have a blind date with a book, but our plan is to have options. And it could say, tell us your top three. And they can tell their top three that they might want. So it's still a surprise, but they have some like ownership over it. So, maybe they open it up and they have a second copy of this Tangled Web. That would be just such a letdown. But they could get on there and say, oh, I'd like to have the Jude book number 2, or Amber Thomas, Prince of Darkness, or Awakening the Forgotten Goddess, that kind of thing. Yeah, so
book surprise, and
yeah,
you clue.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Fun.
It's going to be so much fun. So I will actually, as soon as I get off here, put a link to Distracted Inklings in my link tree as well, so people can actually get to that site. But it's Distracted Inklings, just like it sounds. That is our indie shop page. So if you follow me at Roxie Cohen, or it's at Roxie Writes, and then Distracted Inklings, and I said one more thing, but I've already forgotten.
I'm trying to think. I know you're talking about those two for entries for your giveaway, so I don't know if you mentioned anything else. But also talking about when people want to find it with the exception of Distracted Inklings, where else are your books sold at this moment in time?
Yes, so my books are sold on my website, which is also linked in my link tree. But you can find it like RoxieCohenBooks.com or LavenderFoxPressPublishing.com. They both go to the same site. So my books are there. They're on Amazon. They're on online at Barnes & Noble and all the other online retailers. And I recently even set it up to where you can buy direct from Ingram Spark, which is a new thing they've got going on. So I have that all set up. And so other than Distracted Inklings, that's where you can find my books.
Perfect. And what formats?
I have ebook only on Amazon. I gave them exclusive, and then I have uh, uh, paperback is like everywhere. So
Perfect. Yes, because I know there are a lot of people like everybody has their favorite, and then you have maybe your second favorite, third, but like everybody has their favorite kind of thing. And I'm definitely a print person where I like to hold the book, feel the book, kind of weirdly sometimes smell the book. But the problem is I don't have enough rooms for all those books. Literally rooms. Like I need rooms for books. Cries.
we actually, I actually plan to do hardbacks, but those aren't out yet. If you know anyone who's vision impaired, my books will also be in large print. So I'm working on that now. So they will be offered in large print as an option very soon. I'm just getting the cover adjusted basically, in paperback for that. And I don't have audiobooks yet, but everyone wants me to do them. And it's just a lot of work. You know this. It's a lot of work to like interview people and, that kind of thing for that job. So
Funded up front versus doing the split and all the pros and cons. It could be a lot.
for sure. But that's a question I get a lot, and I know that that's a huge market, and I'm just not in it yet.
And that's again when you must reiterate you have a full-time job, and this is another job that is practically a full-time job. But with that said, I will to say actually, one of my other book friends yesterday launched his Kickstarter, which is helping fund his audiobooks for his series Stone and Sky. So ZS Diamante is doing it, and it's specifically for the idea of fundraising for audiobooks. So there are ways to kind of help, but again, it also depends on how much background work you want to do.
Exactly, and Kickstarters are a whole nother beast. So, and I just started this account last year. I really just started using it in the fall. So I'm still growing my following. I'm still getting to know people. I'm still, I've got this beautiful little loyal like reader base that I love, and I'm just hoping to nurture that and turn it into a garden because right now it's a couple of little bulbs and I want it to be like a whole meadow. So that's what I'm trying to work on right now. So
This metaphor now I'm seeing like little tulips open up, and then they're little booklets.
they're little dahlias. Because Dahlia is the name of the grandmother in Through a Mirror Darkly, and on the new cover there are dahlias. There's like a smoky mountain background because it's set in the Smoky Mountains where I grew up, and then there's these beautiful dahlias kind of peeking out. Um,
If you ever need to gift her a congratulations bouquet for any book release, I hear dahlias are a great book.
Exactly, babe. I like the pom pom ones. But and then I just want to throw this out there. I know this I'm being so promo person right now, but my friend Amber Toma in the comments, she does book covers and she designed my new cover for Through a Mirror Darkly, and she's just opened up an Etsy shop for it. So she's like has links and stuff in her bio, and she's really good at it. She's making all my covers from now on. So
There are always a lot of people who ask about that, like where do you get your cover designer? How does that process work? And so it's nice to be able to tell people, have you checked out? Never thought about Etsy, but like, have you checked it out and see what's available there. So that's always a good thing. And if this platform, sometimes it glitches, never know. If this platform will allow me to repurpose this, I'll repurpose this on my YouTube channel and put all your links below so that people can continue, come back to it, reference it, maybe find you in the future and kind of do that as well. But since we are rounding the end of the hour, and I know it's your celebration day, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I always like to make sure I kind of end on the question-ish. Is there any questions that you wanted to ask that you didn't get around to? And the same goes for anybody watching, or any topics that you wanted to talk about that we never covered so far?
well, we just had a really great chat. There wasn't like a single moment where we weren't talking. So um
Bullet chats, because I'm like it's nice when it's a back and forth, and it's fun when you have engagement from some of the viewers and everything. So it's a chat.
it's nice. Yeah. I always get super nervous before I go into these things and then I'm fine, I'm like, oh, what are we gonna talk about? Well, we're gonna talk about what we do, So no, I want to know more about your books though. So I'm gonna send you a message from our podcast email and just see if I can get some more information from you and see if maybe we can have you on because I'm so excited about your epic fantasies. So that'll be so cool.
Thank you. Like I said, I love doing. I like anything. You start off and you get a little nervous when you. I don't know about you. Maybe I'm just reflecting on my life. But when I jumped on this platform, it was really weird to have my face in front of people I didn't know. And you get used to it and you get comfortable, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's a normal thing. The same thing when you start doing live streams or podcasts or anything like that. It's just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. What am I going to talk about it? But what do we do all day? Well, I mean, not all day, but again, not all day, husband, not all day. Most of the day, we we think and we're working on books.
I know. Yeah, at my day job, I'm constantly like making notes like, oh, when I get home, I'm gonna write about this. I have some downtime there, but it's not the environment where I can immerse myself like it is here at home. So,
Well, if ever you want to do one of these again, let me know. I do them weekly more. And I do schedule in advance. But it sounds like in a few months you're going to have a whole different slew of books to talk about because you are going to be one of those super prolific writers. I already feel it. I can already tell.
oh
So
yeah, I would love to come back and talk about my Goddess series. That one is like I'm so excited, but I'll be coming back as Savannah Moss. So, but I'm excited about that. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so fun.
thank you, especially on your release day. And congratulations, and I hope it's fantastic. And I will definitely be listening in to see how it goes in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
and I couldn't see your chat, so anybody who said anything on your side, I'm sorry I didn't say anything because I just couldn't read it. So,
Yeah, I think it's split this time, and it's always hard to tell. But yeah, anytime that's why I always try to point out if there's anything that's like bookish related that pops up. That's why I kind of do that. But I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, and we will catch up behind the scenes. And everybody who's listening, thank you for coming out tonight.
bye.